Right, in lesson 310, we're going to be working more with percents. We know we spent a lot of time on percents, looking at 3 different types of percent problems the other day. Now we're going to dive into looking at percents as ratios, and we can write all kinds of equivalent ratios to help us find the percent of things. Okay, so here's an example of the first one. I have 8 shaded. Notice the ratio. Every one of these, it's a part to total. Okay, the whole is always wanting to get to 100 because we know ratios are based out of 100. So on this picture right here, if I'm trying to find the percent of what's shaded, I have 8 out of 10 that are shaded. And if I look at my ratio relationship, I know that the 100 is 10 times bigger. I took that times 10, so I just must take this times 10 as well. And you get 80 hundredths. And I've now converted it to a percent. It would be 80%. 8 out of 10. Very simple. If the bottom is 10, I just need 10 times bigger to get to 100. Those numbers get along very well. Okay, another way to look at this is, again, as a fraction, which is what 8 out of 10 is here, just in a ratio rate table. Remember, this means divide. If I take 8 divided by 10, you would also get 0.8, and that changes it into a decimal. Or I can add a 0 there and pronounce that 80 hundredths, which is 80%. So again, just making it into a fraction, like you would on a ratio rate table, it's just 8 out of 10, a part to whole. I can divide, and that'll convert that to a decimal for me, which then I know when it's out to the hundredths, that's what percents are based out of. Okay, another example here. The ratio here would be an 8 to 10 ratio then. Okay, the ratio on this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've got 5 shaded out of, it looks like 5 times 5 rows of 5, which is 25. So I know the ratio would be 5 to 25 would be one way to look at that ratio. Some of you could put that in simplest form and know both of these divide by 5 and it becomes a 1 to 5 ratio. It becomes a little easier to think about. A lot of us know that 1/5 could be 20%. We already know that. If you take a look right here too, some other ways to think about this. There are 5 columns here, and so every column has to be worth 20%. Because this would be 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. The whole thing should be 100%. So if I've got one column out of the 5, that's 1/5. That's 20%. Because I can see this is 20%, 40, 60, 80, 100. Because we know the whole thing is 100. So sometimes you can look at it that way. And you could also tell from that one of these little boxes would be worth 4%. Kind of hard to see there. But I've got 20% here divided by 4. Or by 5 would be 4% each. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So the whole thing's worth 20%. So different ways to think about that a little bit. I figured it out without even using this because I had that 1 to 5 ratio. But we know percents are based out of 100. And 25 gets along well with that. If I take that 4 times, I get 100ths. Take the top 4 times, and I get 20 hundredths, which is 20%. Okay, because percents are based out of 100. Again, if I had a fraction of 20 hundredths, I could take 20 divided by 100. You'd get 0.2, okay, as a decimal, which is 2/10, or add a 0 on 20 hundredths. Now it's percent based out of 100. Okay. Next one doesn't get along quite so well. It looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shaded out of 8. So again, shaded to total. And I've got a 6 out of 8, so my ratio could be 6 to 8. That part to whole or part to total ratio, 6 to 8. Other people can see that if you cut that in half, it's a 3 to 4 ratio. Again, if I divide them both by 2, and I could call this a 3 to 4 ratio. It's equivalent to 6 to 8. My goal is to figure out how much is shaded, though, the percent that's shaded. Again, I know it's quite a bit of it because 6 out of 8 are shaded, so I know it's over 50%. A lot of you know that 3 out of 4 is 75%. 3/4, 3/4 out of 4 is 75 cents if you're thinking of money. So some of you might already be able to do that if you just know 3/4 is 75%. But I could change this to all other kinds of forms. I know 4 gets along with 100 very well as well. If I take it times 25, 4 times 25 is 100. Take the top times 25. So you're at 75 out of 100. Again, you got it to a ratio there that's based out of 100, so it's percent. So 75%. And again, I could fill all of these in with different things. But as soon as you find one that gets along with 100 very well, get it to out of 100, it becomes pretty simple here. Again, you could take 6 divided by 8 on a calculator. you'd get 0.75 if you did that, and you know that's 75 hundredths or 75%. So a lot of ways to think about these the last few days with percents, and another way to think of them as part to total ratios. Okay, so another thing to help you figure out percent problems.